Under the Scope.
Hey Scope fans, Jared and Shane here for another Scope movie review. This time around, it's fall.
Indeed, it is.
And it is a true life action-adventure disaster movie, Jared.
We have back-to-back biopics.
This time we're talking about the tragedy in the Louisiana oceans, Jared. Gulf of Mexico, Deepwater Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Friday Night Lights guy Peter Berg.
Peter Berg. He definitely has a style to him.
He has a style, Jared.
Uh-huh.
He likes to get the touchy-feelies out of you at some point. He likes a shaky cam.
Does he like the grab ass as well?
He likes the grab ass and the touchy-feelies. So I'm telling you, I think we're going to be doing almost like a college paper, Jared. Compare and contrast the two films, Sully, done by one Clint Eastwood, and Deepwater Horizon, done by Peter Berg. Also starring who? Mark Wahlberg,
yes,
right?
Yes, Mark Wahlberg. Kurt Russell.
Perpetual badass Kurt Russell.
He's got the mustache. Loves that mustache.
Damsel trapped at home. Not even damsel, but worried wife trapped at home, played by Kate Hudson.
That was Kate Hudson?
That was Kate Hudson.
I would not have recognized her. Huh. Okay.
And then you've got, I don't know the actor's name, but you've got Buddy Garrity from Friday Night Lights, the TV show.
John Malkovich makes an appearance.
That's right, John Malkovich is in it.
As a BP company man, as they're referred to.
And probably some other character actors that you've seen.
You recognize some of these people.
Yes, the brother from My Name is Earl.
Yep.
Plays one.
I was trying to remember where he was from.
Yep.
He plays a dude in the drill shack.
He's been in a few other things as well. So, Jared, this story is a true life story, telling the tale of the floating oil platform, Deepwater Horizon.
It's an exploratory platform. It's not a drill platform. So what they do is they go out and they basically find the oil and prepare the well for drilling, and then they're done. They move on to the next site. Another rig comes in to actually pump the oil.
Quick question: is this light legal that we have shining on our face?
Who knows? We'll find out.
All right. This accident, if people have forgotten, takes place in the year of our Lord 2010.
Yep.
So just 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, and so yeah, it pretty much tells the story of the people on the exploratory platform
who work for a contractor named Transocean.
Yes.
They are preparing this well for the big oil company BP
to come in and suck all the oil,
suck it out, and make billions of dollars.
How many miles down was it?
Like
3.5,
3.5, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's amazing that we have the technology to do that, and why would we do that? But yet we do.
Because it's harder to find oil close to the surface.
Harder to find oil. You said it, Jared. You know your science. Obviously, we know the story. Things go terribly wrong.
Yep. So things to our heroes, it seems like things are going to go rough right from the beginning, as soon as they get on the platform, because another crew is leaving, and they apparently are skedaddling before running some very, very important tests.
You could tell that they were nervous because you saw puffs of smoke as they were leaving, like a cartoon character.
They're being hustled out by BP because this whole operation is 43 days over. They're bleeding money, and BP wants the rig operational, but of course, Transocean, they just want things to be safe.
Yes.
And that's where a conflict begins.
Yes, and as Jared said, as the plot and the story moves on, you have more and more cascading failures until it's so bad.
Big bang boom.
Big bang. Things start burning, things start falling, and turns quickly into a story of survival rather than a story of just safety.
Exactly right.
It is something else. So, I don't know if we need to belabor the plot in detail, because
no, I think most people
kind
of know what the story is. I mean, this whole movie focuses on almost exclusively on the platform itself.
Yes.
And the people on the platform, with a few exceptions where they kind of cut back to land with Coast Guard and a couple of reactions from Mark's wife,
yes.
Mike Williams' wife.
Yes. You did it. You remembered it, Jared.
I did.
And it's interesting because the action itself of this film doesn't really take up a large part. I mean, it feels like maybe it was done, I don't want to say real time, but it was definitely condensed, and there was a lot of time spent dealing with the issues that eventually bring about this terrible, terrible incident.
Once it goes night,
ratchets it up.
Once it goes night and things are starting to fail, it almost does feel like it's going on in real time.
Yeah, it's like the boulder falling down the hill, gaining momentum.
Pretty much.
So let's talk about this film, Jared, and feel free to talk about Sully comparatively, because I think that there are some parallels.
Yes,
that bear
there are some thematic similarities
that bear discussion.
Indeed.
So both movies have a hero. Sully, obviously, much more well known.
Correct.
He was the face of the Hudson River water landing. This movie has a couple of heroes. Sort of this. What was the name of the company? Transatlantic.
Transocean.
That are just. They seem to know more than the BP guys. They seem to know that troubles are brewing.
They're specialists in their field, and they know they try to follow a procedure, make sure everything's buttoned up and is safe and secure. But when the company man is meddling and is counting his dollars, they're not allowed to do all the tests they want to do.
Yes. And who knows if that's really what happened, Jared?
Right. It's definitely the opinion of the film that BP is to blame for this epic disaster.
Clearly, there are things that happen in this film that are dramatizations of real events.
Sure.
I would guess that the jumping from the platform at the end, they even sort of alluded that was not exactly how it played out.
Sure.
But
you're making a movie, though.
But generally speaking, this movie had to do what Sully did, which is you have to quickly get the archetypes of the characters. You have to understand who is good and who is bad.
Yep.
And then you've got to get to the action.
Who's in command?
Yep.
Who's not? Who's what everyone's motivations are.
It's easy. In Sully, you sort of had what was the government agency that was the bad guys. In this one, it's BP. BP, obviously, very, very easy to make villains because we know that this was the worst oil disaster in the history of America.
It's horrible.
It still has effects on our environment today.
Absolutely.
So, they can paint these guys up as cartoon characters. John Malkovich doing his best.
Crazy Louisiana.
Crazy
accent.
Cajun twisting my mustache evil, but it is what it is, I guess.
There's not a lot of time for develop. I mean, we're only spending about less than a day with these characters, so you're not going to get a lot of time for backstory, and so there's a lot of shorthand. There's a lot of film conventions.
And
excuse me.
And we complained about that in Sully as not working. Does it work better in this film?
I think it works better in this film simply because you don't expect them to spend too much time building up the backstory of most of these characters. We got a lot of backstory from Marky Mark's character, Mark Wahlberg. Let's give him the respect he deserves as an actor these days. We get to see some of his home life and sort of how he is with his family.
Yep.
Pretty much everyone else is, a black box to us. They are what they are on the surface, and that's you kind of have to just accept them for what they are.
Yes.
And, we're just not going to have time to get to it. So, and honestly, once the action starts humming, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what kind of people these are. It doesn't matter.
It's people in danger with just destruction and chaos all around.
Yeah, which, by the way, done very well.
Extremely well.
Very tension-filled, very dramatic, and very harrowing. If being on that platform was anything like what they showed in the movie...
Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't know how you gather yourself to try to figure out how to escape. I mean, amazing.
It's one of those themes that I was talking about between Sully and this film, and that is the theme of the average everyday person doing their job very well.
Yeah.
And basically saving the day for the most part. Yes, there were casualties on Deepwater Horizon, but for the most part, our heroes did what they had to do to get as many people as possible off the rig and survive.
Considering how many, I think there were 120-something people on the rig, 11 did not make it. Considering the destruction and how things escalated so quickly, it's amazing that number was so low.
Agreed.
As tragic and sad as it was. I mean, these are guys that are doing their job, and through bad judgment, probably from big business.
Just trying to cut corners, just trying to make that money.
If that is true, but I have to believe that there's some truth to that.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, acting is workmanlike, as we've said before. But once you get into the meat of the story, which is the survival element, you got to go along with it.
I think Mark Wahlberg actually had some really, really good moments in this film, especially afterwards when he's in the hotel room by himself and he has this emotional breakdown.
Or the walking through the hotel lobby, which, sort of slow-mode things down, and you get the emotional impact from it, which is very much out of Friday Night Lights. I mean, that was by far the most Friday Night Lights moment.
Handheld, slow motion.
Yep.
Very Peter Berg.
But also very effective.
Yes, indeed.
It worked well.
Is there Oscar chatter for Mr. Wahlberg on this film?
I have not heard of anything. I mean, I think the initial buzz on this movie was, is it going to be any good? And as we heard other people walking through the theater at the end, a lot of people were saying better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, the expectation was that it was going to be garbage.
I think it's in the mid-80s on Rotten Tomato right now.
I think that it was, executed pretty well. Mm-hmm. One thing that separates this from Sully, besides, some of our issues with
some issues we had that we're clearly in the minority when it comes to film reviewers, but I stand by my opinion.
But this film, I think the story in itself is far more compelling.
Agreed.
I mean, it's made for a movie.
Yes, I mean this could be a not true story, and instead would just be a fantastic disaster film.
Yes, but knowing that it really happened
just adds an extra gravitas.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it's successful there. This movie was not preachy in any way except apparently big oil bad.
Yes.
And I'm curious to, I'm thinking BP is probably thinking, we put this all behind us, and 6 years later, we're just getting it right again.
I feel like there's enough affected families by this, not just those who directly involved in the tragedy, but anyone who makes a living off the Gulf Coast, that BP's going to have a long time to try to live this down.
Yeah. And it sort of made me angry at them all over again.
Yep.
Not only with the callousness of, and I don't even know what the word would be, the ignorance of how to do things.
A lot of activity on your street here.
Let this guy go past. Yeah, I mean, I just think that in general it is a frustrating thing, and the devastation that came out of this will affect generations, and it bums me out. Here we are, as we pull into the dark alley, Jared. So, I think we've covered this movie. Anything else you want to say before we give it a score?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's take a quick second to gather ourselves, Jared. We'll come back. We'll scope score it.
The scope score is 3 1/4 stars.
So 3 1/4 stars. It is definitely a disaster movie, Jared. It definitely has to cut corners a bit on how it presents its characters, the archetypes. But the key is that you get enough feel for about 3 or 4 of the characters, and then
that you care.
Enough that you care, and then you get into the meat where it's let's survive and let's see who we can come together as a group and get off of this rip.
Visually, it's a very stunning film.
Yeah.
I can't fault any of the visuals. I mean, it's
you feel like you're there.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we're doing a lot of digital images these days, but it's how they integrate the people into that just epic scale destruction is amazing to me.
We are lucky to live in the time we do of filmmaking, because we are at that point.
Exactly. While I was watching this film, I sort of was feeling similar tension like I did when we watched Gravity.
Yes.
Similar sort of like these people need to get out of this situation, and it's sort of unfolding in real time. I don't know if it's as good as Gravity. Obviously not, because we gave that like 4 stars. So... But
even though it was a flawed movie, Jared.
Very similar.
I don't know if I would give it a 4-star rating now, but
that's one we might notch it down a little bit.
I felt like Saving Private Ryan with some of these scenes. The storming of the beach, just the intensity and the constant feeling that you could be hurt or killed at any moment.
Exactly. So
there we go. So Jared, great review. Good getting these tickets.
I do what I can.
Let's tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us if they so choose.
You can like, comment, and subscribe right down below.
Just that easy. Mm-hmm. So, great job, Jared.
Thank you.
Great job, Shane. We did it.
Shane, always a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure. Fall movie season in full effect. Mm-hmm. More to come as the season rolls on. So, for Jared, I'm Shane. This has been The Scope. Fall movie review. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying adios. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.